What's going on, guys? You are on the sidelines with the Sideline guys. I'm Derrick.
And I'm Chris, man. Good to see you guys here once again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to see you again, too, bro.
Yes, sir. It's gonna be a
Uh,
good one. We got a lot to
oh,
talk about.
a lot to talk about. And some really, I guess, breaking news happened just before we even got on. Uh, so let's just go ahead and get into it. Kyrie Irving. I had to get the laugh out because it's the Celtic in me. I got to laugh a little bit when I talk about him. But no, Kyrie Irving. It just came out that Kyrie will not be extended by the Brooklyn Nets,
Mm-hmm.
and oh man, this whole thing with him, in the vaccine. To be completely honest, I didn't see it going this way, where they weren't going to extend him. But I'm gonna be completely honest. Part of me kind of like I get it. I get like this is what's been going on with Kyrie for the last what 5 years or so,
Mm-hmm. 5 years.
where you don't know if he's going to be a part of the season, like with whichever team he's on. Because
Literally.
with Cleveland he did this,
Mm-hmm.
with Boston it happened. A lot of that was due to injury, but um now he's with Brooklyn and doing the same thing. So I don't know. You're in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So like what are your thoughts with the mandate on the sports teams, whether they can play in state unvaccinated or not? And do you think that this was fair with Kyrie? Because I've seen some people talking about that recently in terms of the fairness and I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I would say, let's just be real. Let's get it out the way early. I got
Yeah.
love for Kyrie. I think he's a exceptional player as far as his actual on-court abilities, but it's tired, man.
Yeah.
It's tired. I
Yeah.
think beyond, I think any sports figure I could really think of late. I
Yeah.
feel like he really makes the story about himself in a lot of ways. And listen, let's just be real. It is unprecedented. The fact
Yes.
that they made a mandate across both stadiums,
Hmm.
MSG,
Hmm.
Barclays. This isn't a question. This is happening.
Hmm.
Um, what I find fascinating about it is I don't know if you heard about this, but a judge recently in New York overturned the ruling and said that religious
Really?
mandates should be allowed. But what I find interesting about all this
Hmm.
is I don't think this is a religious issue. So
Doesn't sound like it.
exactly. So he's not going to be that's not going to be any sort of saving grace for him. I think this is such a. I'm going to be real, just
Hmm.
because of the side that I'm on in this situation. I think it's very silly and very immature. But at the end of the day, I do also admit that you got to respect people's choices. But
Right.
at the same time, the same way he feels that they need to respect his choice, he needs to understand that 100% what the Brooklyn Nets did is the right move, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure.
The fact that
Whoa. All right.
I try to
Yeah.
X out the pop up and I X
Oh.
the whole thing out. Sorry about that, you guys. I'll get right back to where I was. I really feel like once again, the Nets are in the right for what they're doing.
Mhm.
I think at the end of the day, it's not like they're the ones in a way making these decisions. In a lot of ways, this is
Right.
above their head.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but I agree with what they did. Like I feel like at the end of the day, you see as far as a basketball issue,
Hmm.
regardless of how they feel about Kyrie,
Hmm.
looking at this as in a basketball sense, it does not make sense to extend somebody who's in this situation and not willing to budge.
Hmm.
And ultimately, don't get me wrong, it's his choice to make. I'm sure
Right.
that I'm sure that if this continues and this goes further and he continues to be stern on that, who knows? He might end up overseas, and that'll be insane. I think that'll be really, really a story to watch out for. The fact that that could actually happen in today's NBA, but
Yeah.
that'll be his choice, and if he wants to make that stance, that's 100% within his possibilities. But I just think it's silly. I think the fact that there's been so many seasons where the focus is on him for all the different reasons and all the different beliefs he has.
Hmm.
Feel free to express yourself. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
one to ever tell anybody to not do that, but at the end of the day, you can't do those things and expect to not have repercussions when what you're doing is entirely affecting the company that pays you.
Right. Yeah. And see, the thing about it is, like, I would actually understand this a little more as a religious stance than anything else. I personally, I didn't think that's where he was coming from in the beginning, but like, I get this whole thing, this of, this is, this person's choice and all that other stuff. Like, I completely understand that. But let me see how to put this. When you're when you voluntarily go into a space where this is the responsibility that you have in terms of, media and all that other stuff, um there's an expectation for players that they do certain things, right? So when we're talking about a team sport, this affects more than just Kyrie, because now you don't know how this is going to affect James Harden in terms of, like, is he going to now stay or is he going to go? Like, is Kevin Durant going to find some way to then move on? You know what I'm saying? So this is actually going to be something that, like, this can ultimately hurt the Nets in general. Like, personally, I didn't see them being as a team that was going to get a championship, and that's mainly because of Kyrie. Like I said from the jump, that this team will only go as far as Kyrie allows them to go. That is it, because on paper, extremely talented team. On the court, they're extremely talented, but they're not always together. And
Mhm.
now we're seeing it again, where at the beginning of the season, yet again, they will not be together. So I think this is going to be beneficial for the other players that weren't going to get much playtime. I think this will be beneficial to them. But when you're talking about a championship, like, when you have those championship aspirations and stuff like that, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. The East is getting better, as even though some people look down on the East and say that it's a weaker conference. It's getting better. I don't know where Philly's going to be, because, again, Ben Simmons is a whole other situation, but they still have some teams there that can easily get this. If Milwaukee was able to get to the championship, I wholeheartedly believe that any other team like Boston or Miami had the opportunity to do the same thing. So it's not, to me, it's not just something that is automatically Brooklyn's. That's been my issue for a long time. Everybody's automatically just gave them the championship. This does hurt their aspirations, though. So I don't know. This is expected from Kyrie. To be completely honest, if this is what he's going to do every year, he's better off to just retire. Like, he was, when he was still in Boston, he spoke about retirement. He said, he let it know it wasn't gonna be let it be known that it was not gonna be long before he retired. So, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he said something about 5 years. So what, that's like going to be like another 2 years or so. I mean, if this is, they were talking about the extension at this point and they're not extending him, I mean, we could possibly see it, man. We honestly, it could happen. I love Kyrie the player. I love his game. He's got the best handles in the league. But when you're talking about a team sport, how does this? Okay, Kevin Durant. Let's talk about him real quick. How does this make him feel? You know what I'm saying? Because the
Mhm.
entire last year of Kyrie being in Boston and KD being in Golden State, they were talking the entire year about moving and going to Brooklyn. So if your entire notion was, you were going to play basketball with this person, and now all of a sudden he's not going to play. And then it's not even for like a religious reason. Again, it's
Mhm.
he's saying he wants to be a voice of the voiceless. What like and honestly, my mom's in the medical field. She's a nurse, right? So I get the perspective of, you know, trying to speak up for people who could lose their job if they don't do this and the other. I get the notion for that.
I think it's the
How
worst hill.
seriously can we
It's the
take
worst,
Kyrie?
dude. It's the worst hill to die on. Like
It
this is the
is.
worst hill to die on.
It
And
is.
I think I got a couple of things to say because you hit the nail right on the head with this. The fact that his decision is affecting everyone around him and their aspirations as a team. Obviously, in his eyes, 100%, he's going to feel that that is minuscule. And I think that
Mhm.
says a lot about him as a person.
Yes.
And let's be real, it's within his rights to be that way. Like I'm not saying
Very much so.
he's wrong, or he shouldn't have done this, or 100% do what you got to do, man. And if this is the stance you want to take it. But at the end of the day, you can't be upset when you're being asked to do something you're expected to do. And first and foremost,
Right.
when you're signing that contract, you're expecting to be on the court if you're healthy.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
100% where this lies. And the fact that they're really, I mean, imagine how they feel about this.
Yeah.
They're missing Karis LeVert so much right now.
Bro, I
So much right now.
never understood that trade.
Never, me neither. It was a throwaway.
They didn't even need to do the trade. That was the thing. Like it just made no sense at all. So yeah,
Exactly.
how much how
And
much
losing their young center too for that. It never made
bro,
sense to me. It was a cap move.
Jared Allen made no like
In a lot of ways, you could argue he was the soul of that team.
yeah,
That he was Brooklyn to the T. Like the
yeah,
fans loved him,
yeah,
and regardless of the of all that and all the mistakes they made leading themselves in here, you can't, in a way, you can't really blame this all on Kyrie. Like this is also on the Nets because you did everything to make this landing strip for these three big stars.
right, right.
But regardless, you know the kind of player you're dealing with in Kyrie. And it's unfortunate to say it like that, but at the end of the day, if you're putting all your eggs in that basket, and that's what they did, it's a very top heavy roster. That's why I
Right.
agree with you 100%. I never felt like 100% they're always going to be a challenger, but I never felt like it was a lock. It's never a
It's
lock.
never a
Anyone could
lock.
get injured. Anything could happen.
Exactly.
People could rise to the occasion in the way that Jimmy Butler did during the lockout season. Like there's
Hmm.
so many factors that go into this, and the fact that you're signing a player that potentially every season is not going to put their best foot forward, you can't be surprised when things like this happen.
Yeah.
Um,
Like at this
I
point, this is Kyrie.
a hundred percent.
This is not just a coincidence.
And
Every
don't get me
single
wrong,
year he's done this.
literally. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Kyrie KD is gonna be the most pissed off person in the world, but I don't think there's any way he comes back with just James Harden there.
Hell no. Hell
I don't.
no.
I don't. I'm gonna be real. From what I saw, and I'm an OKC fan. From what I saw,
Mm,
I don't think he really wanted to play with him again in the first place. So the fact that all this happened, and the fact that now he's there alone,
yeah.
with him, I feel like is gonna be a very similar situation to that last season when he was playing with Westbrook. And every single time you'll see on his face the
Yeah.
disdain
Yeah.
for looking at that guard and seeing what they're doing whenever they put up shots, whenever they're forcing the issue, you
Hmm.
could see on his face that he's upset.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just feel like in this situation though, he can't blame anybody from but himself because the talent 100% makes sense that you want to strive for that position, but
Right.
you
Right.
know the kind of person you're dealing with, and you can't, like you said, for the voices thing makes no sense to me because literally that makes it seem like you're almost doing this for other people.
Right.
Like it's not what you believe. You're just doing it to make this stance.
Right.
And when it comes to taking a vaccination,
Hmm.
that is the stupidest stance to take.
Bro.
The stupidest. Because at the end of the day, you can't be mad if a school, a college, your employer is you sign up to the terms of your employer, not the other way around. Like, let's get that clear.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
there's no way around that. So at the
yeah,
end of the day, it is what it is. And the fact that you're going along this road, I'm gonna admit it sucks. Like, I'm
yeah,
sure that there's a lot of people that hate this, especially Nets fans. But at the end of the day, this is the the bed you made. Now you have to lie in it.
yeah, yeah. And again, like this is just something that when you're looking at like like the vaccination in and of itself, these are not dumb guys we're talking about. These guys are smart as hell. Kyrie is smart as hell. Okay, I mean he says dumb things, but he's a smart guy. It I was skeptical of the vaccination early on. Completely understand the skepticism, but when you then do your homework on it, and not just Google, not just like go on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter to see what other people are saying, actually doing your homework, actually speaking to people in the medical field, actually like we have on the OTS team, we have a chemist, Chris Robinson. Dude knows exactly what he's talking about. And to be completely honest, I get why people are skeptical, but you have to do your work. If you're not going to do your homework, don't sit here and then say you're going to hold this stance. Just admit that you just don't care, you don't want to take it because you don't feel like this is, something you want to do. You feel like you're being forced to do it. Okay, say that. Don't say that it's because you're trying to be the voice of the voiceless.
100%.
It
Like,
doesn't even make any
I'm
sense.
dude, like, I am somebody who got vaccinated and did every effort I could to get family members to understand why
Right,
this is a
right.
good move.
Yeah,
And I still am not somebody that goes around advocating for other people to make the decision, because at the end of the
yeah.
day, 100% autonomy is what matters. If you're going to
Mm-hmm.
do whatever you want to do, I cannot, nobody can, your mother can't tell you what to do. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, like you said, if you're going to take this stance, you got to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And I feel like with he's brought a lot of attention to himself with the flat earth
Unnecessarily.
stuff and all that other stuff. This right here, it is such utter crap that you're going to not only make it seem like you're doing this for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
but also you're not even taking the stance for yourself. You're not going out there and saying, this is the reason, or I'm not doing this because of this, or this is why I feel I should have the right. No, it's not about that for you.
Right.
It's about the image and you making this stance for everyone else. And to me, that's worse than the people who got the jab and are insanely meandering along to the people that aren't on the same side as them, because there's maniacs on both sides of this. Let's
Oh
be
yeah, yeah,
real.
yeah, 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 yeah. There's
a hundred
you have
percent
the extremes of either side for sure.
Yeah, and I thank you for saying that in a much more nice way than I said it. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's just like you said, it's just common sense. If you're gonna go about this path and you're gonna make yourself the righteous one in this, take the stance.
Yeah.
Be for real about it.
Yeah.
Don't just try to make it seem like you're doing this holier than that. I'm doing this for everyone kind of thing.
Yeah.
When at the end of the day, that's what is being asked of you by your team.
Bro, and you know what's like crazy about this whole thing? He's saying he's trying to do this for people that are losing their job over having to be mandated to take the vaccine, right? You're voluntarily losing your job to do what? Kyrie is like he's voluntarily losing his job to do what? Like this, it literally makes no sense. I got vaccinated. Okay, I have people in my life that are still skeptical on it as well. So I get it. I understand it. The problem is you can't go and with his history of trying to teach people. Like this is the problem. It's not just like this is just a one-off thing. This has been every single year since LeBron left Cleveland. This is
I don't
every
know what that
single
is,
year.
man.
So you now want to teach people certain things with extreme what's the word, tactics. You're using extreme tactics to teach people certain things, and you're not even like fully doing it. It's just like you're just making a stance, and this is why. Boom. Almost
You
like
know what
he's
I would
trying to be
love?
a martyr or something like that. And I don't get it.
You know what I would love if you're still under contract. You can't go to the big three. But if he was to partner with an organization like that, or to even make his own league,
Hey, he could
this
void
would
his
start to
contract,
make
bro.
sense. This would start to make sense. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like if you're taking steps, you want to create opportunities for people who you feel like are not being heard. By all means, make your own league,
yeah,
and let's see how this plays out.
yeah, yeah.
Because
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure, no disrespect, I'm sure with, like you said, the extremists on both sides of this, that there'll be a lot of people that are willing to tune in just because of that, just because of it is what it is. But let's be real, XFL didn't work for a reason.
bro.
It's because the
they're
best
still
people aren't there.
they're
The
still trying to
people
get that
want to
off the
see,
ground.
literally, and it's so sad, man. It's so
Well,
sad.
now that the Rock is over it, their last season actually looked pretty fire. I can't lie. Their
Really,
rules, yeah,
really.
the rules that they implemented, I think the NFL should implement. Like
Mm,
they had some really good ideas. It's just that they can't do a full season. It's just
mhm,
it's like the off season of the NFL where they can actually go. You know, it's
literally.
almost like I think like 2 months maybe. So I
Hmm.
they could possibly reach another level, but I agree. It takes time. It takes time, and it takes a lot of money, money that Kyrie
Really.
does not have by
That's why I'm
himself.
saying he needs to partner with somebody that can
So
help him make. If this is the stance you're making, actually do something about it. Then
that's
this
what I'm
would be him
saying. He's
actually
not
making
doing
a step.
anything. He's literally just
100%.
sitting. He's just sitting there saying, "Oh, I don't want to take. I want to be the voice of the voiceless," and sitting by, like just sitting back doing nothing. It's he's trying to almost make himself the Kaepernick of the NBA,
And it's not the same
and it's
issue
not
at
the same
all.
at all. That's what I don't get. That's what I don't get about him. Like the player I love, as
100%.
much as as he pissed me off in Boston, I still love his game. Okay, but his
Generational talent. Like that's not hearsay. He's a
bro,
generational talent.
that's not even like yes. It's true. He is a general. I mean, the handles, everything like that. He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. But you cannot continue to talk about trying to be one of the goats, trying to be like Kobe. You can't do all that and do this. You see what I'm saying? You can't
100%.
keep doing this and acting as if this is going to be just like okay. Is not. Now, if there was something that was actually going on, like and he was actually doing something about it, cool. Like I get it. He's not doing anything.
Exactly.
So what are we doing here? Just wasting time and you're wasting KD's latter
Window.
part of his career.
Window of opportunity. And
Yeah,
your
you know what I'm
own.
saying?
And your own.
And your own. Yeah, yeah. So and look, and that's not even so Brooklyn's going up against two things this year. Kyrie Irving and the rule change of the offensive foul, drawing the offensive foul for
Mhm.
guards that do the the
The
motion
kick
up,
out. Yep.
kick out. Yeah. So Harden is already going to have a lot of issues this year. I mean, it may not be extreme issues, but he's already going to have a lot to work with this year. Now you throw that Kyrie's not going to be playing. It's hey, I don't feel bad for him honestly.
$100.
As someone on the other side, you know, I love my Celtics, so I don't feel bad for the Nets just from that perspective.
100%.
But I feel bad for them in terms of this is what we signed up to do. We're going to battle, and you're not coming.
Literally. Literally. And it's the grand choice you're making. I swear, I would really love, and this is this is gonna come off as a huge joke, but I would really love if he just goes all in on Kyrie the Grand Wizard and he just becomes this mythical figure and he's this strong arm advocate for everything that he believes in. I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
love that in
yeah,
today's world. Like, I feel like that would genuinely sell. Like, if he's out here doing seminars on flat Earth and
yeah,
explaining why the vaccine is gonna vaporize your lungs, it'll make so much more sense than what he's doing right now. Because, like you said, not only are you making an issue for your team, let's talk about the voice of the voices. How do you think the eighth, ninth man on that roster feels.
Bro, that's why I'm actually glad that they did this. That's why I'm glad they took the
100%.
stance where they said you cannot participate part-time. Because if the eighth, ninth guy, 10th guy did the same thing, guess what? They're not gonna be a part of the season.
100%.
So
They'll
if
be
they
dropped
did,
so quick.
yeah. So if they did not do this to Kyrie, then the message sent to other players, whether it's on that team or other teams, is, oh, we can do the same. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we can do the same thing without any type of repercussion. That's not how that works. If they're paying you the money, see, that's a breach of contract right there, which is why I understand why they're not going to extend them. You're being paid to play. Like you said, if you're healthy, play. That's it.
And and the immature thing about this is he would say, the only reason I'm not playing is because of you. That's what I find so immature about this.
Yeah, and again, like you said, this is not even Brooklyn's mandate. This is the city of New York. I mean, it's the state of New York, but where they're playing, you cannot do this.
100%.
So,
And this is the only thing I'm going to say as far as actually the vaccine and the stance you're taking.
mm-hmm,
I personally feel like if he was going out and spreading misinformation, etc., this would
mm-hmm,
be a much bigger issue that I'm passionate on
mm-hmm,
because, like we said, we did our homework and we came to our conclusions because of how we feel. And
mm-hmm.
I'm not here to push that down anybody's throat. But at the end of the
Yeah,
day, I'm thankful that he's not doing that. But if you're not going to do that, this doesn't make sense. Like your stance doesn't make sense. Like
you'd almost wish he did pass it misinformation just so it can all make sense at this point, right?
exactly because and it's not even just like for the sake of spreading lies. It's for the
Yeah,
sake of if this is what you're gonna do, do it. This
yeah, yeah.
it's so silly. I'm honestly over this. I feel like nobody should be upset at anyone but themselves because you
Oh
put
yeah,
yourself in this position
yeah,
and now you have to live with the fact that he's going to keep pointing the finger at you and saying, this is your fault. This is your fault for not allowing me to play half of the season on the road,
bro.
and not practice with you guys in our own home stadium. Does that
Yeah,
make any sense to you? Like,
nah,
it's so, and I would have loved, like I said, if you were really about this, you're not about this. Like, if you was
yeah,
really about this, you would be shouting at the rooftops why this is wrong, why you
mm-hmm,
shouldn't be doing this, why you don't want to do it,
yeah,
and why other people shouldn't do it. Because let's be real, a lot of the people like yourself and I who have got vaccinated,
mm-hmm,
if someone is willing to listen, we're willing to spread that knowledge as well. So
yeah,
why don't you do the same?
yeah,
You
yeah,
have a platform that nobody else does, and the league has shown every time he talks about anything that's wild, they're gonna put 6 microphones in front of him because
oh yeah,
no matter what, it's gonna make headlines.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if this is what you're gonna do, do it. And if not, all you're doing is being a piece of shit teammate. Let's be real.
That's why
And
it doesn't make any sense because if
because
you're on a
you're dying,
team,
dude. Go ahead.
like, bro, I didn't get to play sports in high school or college, right? I was homeschooled. I didn't get the opportunity to play, but I wanted to play. I wanted to play football or basketball, right? I like, even just in pickup games, I'm doing what I know to do, that I can do, dirty work or whatever, to help my team. Okay.
100%.
Because at the end of the day, as a competitor, I want to win. That's it. That's it. Kyrie, to be completely honest, I don't know if he is that much of a competitor. I really
Mm.
don't, because I've seen it with my own eyes. This dude does not care in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just kept shooting that,
Disappears.
bro. In that Milwaukee, I will never forgive him for that. That
And,
Milwaukee series.
and let's be real. The reason why he's a generational talent isn't because he's a Steph Curry on the 3-point line. It's because his handles are great
And it
and
was
he
stupid.
finishes at a rate that not many people can at that position.
Yeah.
He is great going to the basket. And
Yes.
like you said, if this was a matter of where the things you're saying about being a GOAT and being considered someone who is on that level, if that really mattered to you, this would be a non issue.
Oh,
Do you think, like,
that's why LeBron got
God,
it.
God rest his soul, like, do you think Kobe would ever be in this position, regardless of what he
No,
believed?
no,
Like, it's
no,
insane to me. It's
no.
insane to me. And that's why I feel like people who are like that are given the respect the way that Kobe has gotten it,
Hmm.
and the way that Michael Jordan is always adored by everyone who speaks about
Hmm.
him,
Hmm.
because that matters regardless. Like, I was not, let's be real, Julio's going to be on later. I
Hmm.
was not the best 3-point shooter. I was not the best driver. I could not dribble,
Hmm.
but I'm going to get everyone on your team annoyed because
Oh yeah,
I want to win.
yeah,
Like, it doesn't matter. It
yeah,
doesn't matter that I'm uh, sloppy on the court or I make mistakes. That doesn't matter
yeah,
because people want me on their team because I bring that,
yeah,
regardless of any of the other shorthands that I had. So let's be real. Like,
yeah.
if in a team sport, especially if you're willing to put yourself before anybody else,
Hmm.
there's no room for you here. And that's why I'm glad that
No,
they made that decision.
yeah, yeah, because there's no way you can look at a team and say, listen, I we have the same goals. That's why I don't understand the whole Ben Simmons thing,
Yeah, this
because
is a perfect segue. We could go right into
we
that.
can go right into it because like I know he flew into Philly what yesterday or the day prior.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because he started getting fined.
he started getting fined. It has nothing to do with him actually wanting to play there. He doesn't want to lose the money.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to lose the money. Plus,
Which
on
is
top of that,
understandable.
there's
I
no
can
look.
respect that way more than what Kyrie's doing.
Oh yeah, yeah. But at the same time, guess what? No team is going to trade for him, and I'm pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
he started seeing that his trade value went down tremendously just in
Mm-hmm.
the last year. There's like that's it. That's it. Where Philly, and I somewhat understand it, but you saw this back then too. This is not like this is not just like a new thing where he been questioning his shooting thing. But they had the opportunity to actually push for a championship with Jimmy Butler. That
Mm-hmm.
was their best opportunity. They chose Ben Simmons over Butler, which I was confused over that. Like, I get why you want him on the team, but what you had with Butler and Embiid, how they pushed each other, and how they were just going, and it honestly made no sense. They paid Tobias Harris what they paid him over Butler. That's another
100%.
that's a whole other argument. Like that didn't make any sense. But
One of the many J. Cole lookalikes in the league. I love mentioning that, by the way.
yeah, I was funny thing when I saw how bad our shooting was getting last year. I was pushing for the Celtics to sign J. Cole. Had nothing to do with him actually being a shooter. He's not. I mean, he's a good shooter, but I mean, he was better than what we had last year, bro. Like,
That's
J. Cole is
hilarious.
significantly better than what we had last year. But no, but Ben Simmons was his to me his value was like the highest at that point where you could have traded
Mm-hmm.
him
100%.
and got some pieces or picks or whatever to keep Butler with Embiid because their games complement each other so well. So I don't see where Philly goes this year. I don't know that I consider them a top. I don't consider them a top three team at all,
Mm-hmm. 100%.
like at all. But I think they're going to push to be in that 5 to 7 range,
And they very well could be.
and they're going to get knocked out first round again.
And
And
let's be real, real quick. Not only in this league, but in every league,
mm,
potential is a commodity.
mhm,
Regardless of whether or not people want to believe that,
yeah,
potential has a lot to do with your value.
right.
And I still don't feel that he doesn't have potential to grow past that or to show better than he has in the past, especially in those playoff series.
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of this is mental. And the reason why I feel like that is because, and it's hard in today's NBA more so than ever to tune
Hmm.
that stuff out. But I feel like he really takes the stuff to heart when people like Shaq, people like Charles Barkley are saying, first of all, you ain't that good to be trying to do this shit. You're not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
And
like
he's
I
also
said,
playing in Philly too, which Philly is a blue collar city. Like that's
exactly.
you've got to
That
work.
more than anything is what they want, for you to
Yeah,
show that you want to be there and to
yeah.
show that you're willing to do those things to make those strides. I feel like if he would have went out there and actually shot those shots and actually took the ball in and took those layups and he missed all of them,
Yep.
they would be happy with that. I
They
feel
would
like
have more
honestly,
respect for him.
Exactly. 100%. And
Yeah.
let's be real here. The fact that the Kyrie situation and this situation are spoken in the same breath isn't fair to Kyrie because he's nowhere near the talent that Kyrie is.
Yeah.
But you can't argue that I would rather have Kyrie as a teammate than Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has been
Hell no.
so disgruntled. He
Yeah.
has been so upset with what's going on. But do I think if he's in another situation, he's going to be a bad teammate? No.
Mm-mm.
I just think
Mm-mm.
he has a huge hurdle to get over, and a big part of it is taking into account what everybody else is saying. And you love to see him posting those videos and him shooting
Bro,
up threes, and those
Summer
threes are going
Simmons
in
is undefeated, bro.
every season. Every season,
Every
he
year this dude.
belongs in the 3-point contest with those videos.
Yes.
He
Yes.
belongs in those, but it's. I hope it translates, but I don't think it will. And
It
let's
never
be
does.
real. If and let's be real. If excuse me, if after all this stuff, do you think
Mhm.
anybody on that team wants to play with him?
No. I mean, you can say you do, but no. Because again, if you're looking at it from a competitor's perspective, if I'm telling you, listen, bro, I need you to do X, Y, Z, because if you do this, like we're all better. Like that's all they're saying to you. Like I get how it felt like everybody was throwing him under the bus and everything like that. But if you're a competitor, he's not cut from the same cloth as Kobe. If you're
And there's very few people who are. Let's just make
very
that
few
clear.
people, yeah, yeah. But if you're a competitor, like if you really want it that bad, you're going to do every single thing that you can to make sure you become a better player. But guess what? This is not even all on him. This is Brett Brown's responsibility. It's the front office responsibility because at the end of the day, as the coach, you're supposed to be able to say, "Hey, listen, I need you to do X, Y, Z." He didn't force Ben to, or not force. He didn't have Ben to go and work on his jump shot. He didn't have him do that. He just kept saying, "Hey, that's just who he is. We're gonna work with him on it."
Exactly.
He didn't care. He didn't want to hurt his feelings. So now that someone comes in saying, "Listen, you need to do X, Y, Z so we can be better." Now is that person that like it's that spoiled perspective of like,
100%.
yo, I don't need to work on XYZ. I wasn't told to work on it before. Why you need me to work on it now? So now and look, it's not even just the fact that he didn't shoot. He literally passed up
Layups.
a layup.
That's what you do. That's what you
Why would
do.
you
That's why
do
you was
that?
getting the LeBron comparisons out of it doesn't make sense to me. I feel like he was so in his head in those series and so worried about the perception that all of that took over him. And let's be real, this is I hate. Let's be. I'm not. I'm always one. We talk about this every week when we get a chance to. We
Mhm.
are ones to side with the players over the organization
Oh, for sure.
100% of the time.
Yeah.
But the fact that this take your ball and go home syndrome has been existing within the past 4 or 5 years, where people
Yeah.
come and they're tired of what is it, or if they're tired of losing, so they want to get traded, or they're tired of being talked about, so they want to get traded. That's just ridiculous to me. Like you
It's
should
soft.
never.
It's
100%.
soft.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's if you're an actual competitor, like okay, so the maybe like the Paul George situation in Indiana where hey, look, we did all we could. This is just not going to work. When you have situations like that where players try to win there, LeBron tried to win in Cleveland, didn't work. Like those players move on. So that I totally understand.
Mhm.
But Ben Simmons didn't do. He has not done everything in his power to make it work. He basically wanted it served to him, and that's where like that's where I lose the respect because you're supposed to be this competitor. You're supposed to be this. They can like you said they compared him to LeBron. They compared like saying he's going to be the next guy. How? And every playoffs, what happens to him in the playoffs?
He
He disappears.
disappears out there.
He's not. He's like
And
1 point games, bro. Like who does that?
And that's the saddest part about it, because I'm not gonna lie, for a very long time, and still to this day, I'm one of LeBron's biggest critics. I do not personally favor LeBron in any way,
Hmm.
but let's be real. There has been this take the ball and run thing with LeBron, but there's never been a question about the kind of competitor he is when he's on the
That's
court.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's the
His heart
that's
is
the
there.
difference between
Yeah.
this situation. Like, not only are you not up to that standard in which you can make those demands, but at the end of the day, if it's in your right mind to say I'm done with this because y'all don't take care of me, like y'all
Mm,
don't shelter me from all this
mm,
stuff,
hmm.
dude, you brought this upon yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
100% you brought this upon yourself.
Yeah.
And let's be real, once again, I'm not doubting that he can be a great player. I feel like his skills, especially with seeing the court, is up there. Let's
Oh,
be real. But
phenomenal.
at the end of the day, you can't that when you're in a playoff series, and this is why I love combat sports so much. We're going to talk about
Mm,
that later on today too. When you're in a playoff series, you regardless of where your skills are, if you're not there to compete, you're going to lose.
yeah. Of
It doesn't make
course.
sense to me. It's really entitled, and like you said, it's hearing the media and shelling up and feeling like, how come nobody's coming to bat for me?
Hmm.
You could be a terrible shooter. Like, do like let's be real. How come back in the day somebody like Tony Allen always had a spot on the roster?
He's a
It's
dog.
not because literally, it's not because he's out there to shoot. It's not because he's out there to pass.
Hmm.
It's because nobody's ever going to question whether or not he wants to be there or whether or not you want him there in the front lines with you.
Yeah.
That
He's
that,
a
in my
dog.
opinion, in a team sport, is the biggest thing. If you don't have the trust in your teammate that they're going to be giving the best that they have every night, why would you give the best? And that's why I feel it for Joel Embiid so much in this situation, because
Yeah.
he's a dog. He's somebody
He
that
just started playing basketball like within the last what,
6 years,
6, 7 years? Like,
and literally, this is somebody who, if he's facing the worst team in the league, is going out there and trying to score 40 and put up 20 boards
yeah,
to make the point.
yeah,
And that's why I think that's what separates players like that in this league. The fact that the fact that you can't get a trade package for somebody like Brogdon, like other random point guard, any point guard you can point to in the league, Drew Holiday even, it's because those guys, you're not going to question whether or not they care.
yeah,
You
yeah,
can't put yourself in a position to be questioned like that and then try to make a demand.
yeah,
No, and on top of that, do you think they're going to trade you for nothing? Like, do you think they're going to allow a giveaway when they know that at the end of the day, your potential, even now, is still very tangible? It's still something that can be mined.
yeah.
He's not old. He's not an old man.
He's not. He needs to be in a different situation. I don't
Yeah,
see him. I
it's
don't see
toxic.
this. I don't see this in Philly working out at all.
I can see Tex happening this season because of the Sixers. Like, you don't even have to,
Oh yeah,
you don't even have to do
yeah,
anything to them. They could
yeah,
be arguing amongst themselves.
yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
I will put money on it that will happen at least twice this season.
How much you
That
want to
they're
bet
going to
they'll
be
lead
arguing
the
between
league?
each other.
How much
Lead
you
the
want to
league
bet
in
they'll lead the league in
text. Yep.
text? Yeah,
And it doesn't make sense to me, dude. It doesn't make sense to me, because at the end of the day, not it's selfish, and it's selfish in a way that's, even in my opinion, worse than the Kyrie thing. Because
hmm,
say whatever you want, it's silly, and we already went over that. But at the end of the day, if you can't step up when people are saying you're not this, then why the hell would they ever have a reason to say otherwise?
yeah,
That's all I gotta say about this,
yeah, yeah. Because I'm telling you what, I'm the type of person that if someone is talking about me like that, I'm going to do whatever I can to prove them wrong.
dude. Do
You see
you
what I'm saying?
think
That's
I
a
ever
competitor.
let anybody tell me I was trash? I know I was trash, bro.
Yes.
I would never let anyone tell me I was trash. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and we're nowhere near that level. Let's make
No,
that clear. I'm not here
but
trying to compare
in
myself to
my
this.
mind,
In
I
my
am.
mind, I would not
Yeah.
allow myself to look that stupid. I would not allow myself,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, I have to preserve my mental integrity. And the only way I
Hmm.
could do that is if I'm going to be a brick and if I'm going to be missing shots and if the only way I'm going to help is by getting a couple rebounds and getting people fired up when I'm diving across
Bro,
the floor to
you
get
got you
loose
gotta you gotta
balls,
you gotta get
that matters.
rebounds, you gotta defend, you gotta assist. If you can't shoot, you gotta do those three things.
Uh-huh. And
You
you
gotta
got to
set
care more
screens.
than anything. More
Yeah,
than anything, you got to care.
yeah, you gotta care. And honestly, I don't think either one of these guys care. And I think that's the problem.
100%.
That's the problem.
100%. They
So
only care about themselves and their own fragile egos in the situation. And I think that make yourself a martyr, Kyrie. Um, Ben Simmons, make yourself into a situation where it's everyone against you, even your own teammates. It's a toxic situation. I don't think they'll be able to go far in the playoffs because of this. I hope that there is some way that they
they weren't
can trade
going
him.
they weren't going to play far in the playoffs with Ben Simmons.
I agree. I think that's arguable. If his potential was met in certain ways, that's arguable. But I agree. There's no reason to think that,
Nah. Now
especially with
if they
especially
had
with their
Butler,
character.
if they had Butler, to me the Sixers would have probably for the last 3 years would have been top contender in the East for the finals. Like I
He is that guy.
yeah, he's that guy. You just swap those two. Just swap those two and you see how much better the Sixers would get and how much worse the Heat would get. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't personally. I don't see what team would
Wants
look
him.
at this Ben Simmons situation and say, "I want that." I don't see what other team would look at the Kyrie situation and be like, "I want that." Like you want the player, like you said, the potential is there, but if they're not buying into what is going on with these teams, it's not going to work.
Let's be real. I hate the hype. I hate the fact that this family has been made into something they're not. I think the youngest Ball brother is the best, and he's
Oh,
showing
by
that
a long
in the
shot,
Hornets. But I would much rather have Lonzo on my team than Ben Simmons. I would
bro.
much rather have
Lonzo is a killer.
literally.
He
You
like he
never doubt
wants
that.
it.
You will never
No,
doubt that. A hundred
no,
percent.
he wants it.
And there's nothing I think is more like nothing is gonna win over a franchise to you more than that. And that's why you said
Yeah,
when you went back when Kyrie was with the Celtics, you didn't favor him because you feel that
no,
as a fan.
yeah.
You care. You feel like you're watching and you care more than he does.
Dude literally said, I kid you not, he kept shooting. He had one of the worst shooting nights I think in his career against Milwaukee, and they asked him like why did he continue why he didn't figure out something else to do. He said, "I'm gonna continue shooting that because that's the kind of guy I am." And he went on to continue to shoot and not hit the net for the
And
rest
that's
of the
completely
series. He
different
kept
than
doing that.
and
He just did
that's
not
completely
care.
different. Exactly. That's completely you could try to claim that to be Mamba mentality. It is not.
It's
It is
not.
not.
No, because
It's soft.
Guess what Kobe did.
He's
Kobe did
driving.
he did whatever he had to do. Yeah, he drove. He drove. If he wasn't shooting, the right way, I'm driving.
This is somebody once again why these people are not even comparable. This is someone
Nah,
who is still getting on the field to shoot free throws with a blown Achilles.
bro,
That
and making
that
them,
in
not even just
itself
shooting them, making
and
them.
making them literally literally. God rest his soul, man. That was one of the most tragic. I've never felt personally, and we never got to talk about this because I didn't know you back then, but I've
Yeah,
never felt for somebody more than the Bryant family after that situation because
bro.
the fact that that happened is you can't even I can't even think of another situation that's remotely similar to that. And
Mm,
just the character and the kind of person that he was going to be a legend no matter what happened. And to see him continue to live on through because I could have I honestly feel like he would have ended up being a coach even if it was in, in his daughter's leagues or whatever the situation may have been.
I thought he was going to be a coach in the WNBA.
And that would have been amazing. Like that just gave
Yeah,
me chills.
yeah.
And it's just so tragic. It's so sad. I don't know how we ended up on that, but I feel like no matter what, with all both of these situations, you're being selfish. You're putting your team in a bad spot,
Hmm.
and you're making yourself look stupid. Because no matter
Yeah,
what, from this point forward, there's no reason to trust in you as a teammate. And first and foremost, that is what matters
Yeah.
in a sport like this, where you need to go deep into the playoffs with guys that you care about, and you need to know that they care. We're gonna be fighting. You see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever huddles in the NFL, this is what we talk about. We're gonna get to that in a few, but huddles in the NFL, you see it all the time. I'm gonna fight for the man next to me. It's
Right,
not
right, right.
about you.
Right.
And they've only made it about themselves. So I feel like they deserve what's coming to them, both of them.
Oh yeah. And which is funny because all of this is actually helping Bradley Beal.
100%. 100%.
Everyone forgot about Beal, man. Like I don't know if that's the market. I don't know.
It has to be.
I don't know if that's just the name. Like it's everyone forgot about him. Like we were talking about it for a second, and then all of a sudden Kyrie came out, did this thing, Ben, did his thing. Yeah, this is hey, he benefits greatly from this. And maybe he'll spend another year in hell and then come on to Boston.
I know that'd be great for you, man.
Hey,
I know that's
hey.
what you want.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do.
100%. And you have every reason to feel that way. I was extremely high on Beal coming out of college. I felt like since day one, the Ray Allen comparisons were legit. Like you can see that level of explosion. You can see that level of shooting. I love that we can get into this NBA stuff too, man. We're not one dimensional over here, man. And
oh, not at all.
You're gonna see.
We just need the season to approach.
Literally, you're gonna see when we get to our picks today. Not only do we know what we're talking about in football, we know what we're talking about in basketball. And at the end of the day, we got a lot to look forward to this season. These storylines are something that I am frankly tired of. I don't. Yeah. You're getting what you deserve, and let's move forward. I would love to see. I'm not trying to say anything about Ben Simmons, the player. I would love to see him come out and have a career year. I would love that because you're now going against what everyone has said against you. What you've done to this point is not fighting against your reputation. You're just putting your tail between your legs.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still skeptical as to whether we're going to see him really play this year, or if we do, is what it's really going to look like.
Don't. Let's be real.
Yeah, they would be, but I'm saying for him, like, is he actually going to
want
to actually play? Like he could try.
That'll be dumb. That'll be dumb. He's not going to get paid, and he wants to get paid.
Yeah, but at this, look, let's say for example that there's some type of injury, and then all of a sudden, like, it's just a lingering thing. Who knows? Like, that's what I'm starting to expect, because I don't see how this is going to work on the floor.
100%.
If you can't trust the guy next to you, then it is just, it is what it is.
Do you think Embiid's going to be setting hard screens for you when you're playing like this? Like, or making these decisions publicly? Like, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Look, I know we were waiting for Julio to get on. I think we should just go ahead and get into the picks, bro.
All right, brother. Let's do it. I'm gonna start off on a strong note, because I'm gonna be real, man. I'm looking back for both of us.
How we do?
This is a historic week. This is a week in which we have done things that not many people can do. If the bookies are out there, they're mad at us, because this has been our best week of picks.
Oh yeah.
I went 12-4, which is great. That's not the first time one of us went 12-4. You went 14-2, brother. Oh, that is insane. Wow. That is insane. And I think that speaks volumes to, once again, we know what we're talking about, and you'll hear that when we talk about these teams and these games. Regardless, I'm tired of making that statement, because it's already known.
It's known.
We know what we're talking about. And the fact that collectively we're doing this, like, it's not just one of us. Like, and we've disagreed on things. It's not like we're agreeing on things. It's not like we make the same picks every week.
Yeah.
This is great what we got going on. And the fact that we did this well is awesome. But there's still a game that we both got wrong.
I'm pretty sure.
There's two, to be real.
Which ones were they again?
Do you know?
I forgot.
Saints Washington.
Oh yeah.
And the second one is another oh yeah moment where we have to eat crow. I'm not gonna lie. Raiders Bears.
Bro, did you see that coming though? Like
100%. And we spoke about that on the show.
I forgot we even get to talk about Gruden.
Oh, yes, we didn't. I can't wait to talk about that. Let's start with the Saints, and then we'll get to that.
Yeah.
because that's important to me, and we're going to be on
Yeah.
that for a while.
Yeah.
I think, let's be real. Let's be real. I This week in the NFL was one of the most wild weeks I can remember. The fact that we got these picks right looks great on us,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there was multiple times during this week where I'm watching these games and I'm like, I'm gonna go 0-16 this week. There's no way none of these picks are gonna come through. And then somehow the most
Yeah.
wild games it was able to come through. I feel like in the Washington game, I don't even feel bad about that pick because
No.
I feel like we go off what we see, and
Yeah.
there's no way we can anticipate when the Saints are going to decide that they're going to play. And that's the
Right.
kind of team they are this season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think they're a team that decides when they're going to show up, especially defensively, which
Mm-hmm.
I find so weird because
Yeah.
usually that's the consistent side of the ball.
Yeah.
Um, it Kudos to the Saints, man. They put up a lot of points. Jameis looked great, but I will never have a handle on this team. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna say that.
And it's gonna get weirder because Michael Thomas is coming back. So I don't know, I don't know if that should help them. That realistically, that should help them, but who knows, man? This, like you said, they're just one of those teams that you just have to kind of like take week by week because you just don't know which one is going to show up.
And even when you take them week by week, you're bound to have a week where it just goes the complete opposite way, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
what you expect at all. I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel too bad about that. I still feel like to this day the praise that I was giving to Heineke is well deserved. I think
Oh
he
yeah,
looked great. I think he should have been the starter coming into the season, in my opinion,
without question.
because of what he brings to that side of the ball on both ends. He's a dual threat quarterback who, let's be real, he can be forced into a situation where he is more of a run first quarterback. But in today's league, I don't think that's the worst. That's in my opinion is better to have in your quarterback than someone like, and they won. So let's be real, it's a little bit different than
Yeah,
someone like Ben Roethlisberger, who is going to sit in the pocket and act like they're going to scramble
yeah,
and not even commit when I would much rather have someone that's scrambling and trying to make things work than to have someone that's just sitting back there and making the team look a fool. So,
What's good, Julio?
How you doing, Derek? How you doing, Chris?
Good to
hey, man,
see
it's
you,
great
man.
to have. I love the background. The executive is here. This is the man of the hour. We've been
Yes,
waiting for
sir.
you. I'm gonna be real, man. Let's wrap up this because we can't even get to that
Yeah,
Gruden situation because it's too much. Like
yeah,
it is way too much. I'm gonna let you intro what we're about to get into, Derek. But to wrap this up, I think with Heineke, you got to respect him as a player. You got to
mm,
respect that defense because they're beginning to show up, but their
yeah.
secondary is still abysmal.
It's a suspect.
And there's no
Secondary.
way I don't see them fixing it because it's not an injury issue; it's a personnel issue.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
It's gonna be a while for they get that together.
100%. And I don't feel like I'll be high on the Saints coming after this either because in my opinion, I don't think Washington is of that ilk yet.
No,
But um, it makes sense why we got it wrong, and I won't be surprised if I get every one of the games wrong this year.
oh yeah, I'm pretty sure if we look back on the season at the end of the year, we'll probably have more games where we're wrong with the Saints than we're right.
Bucks Eagles. Uh, let's first off start by letting you have. Please tell me how you felt about that, and what do you think this matchup looks like?
Well, with last week, and I know some people saw me, Jonathan. I'm not sure if he's watching right now, but Jonathan called me out for it too. I'm fine with it. I said what I said. I don't think that we're going to win. That's what I said during the game. I don't think we're going to win because of the fact that they neglected to run the ball.
Hmm.
Defensive coordinator for the Panthers, even at halftime, said we shut down their run game. You didn't shut down a run game if they're not utilizing the run game. So that's dumb as hell. But they started to use the run game a little bit in the second half, and that's why they were able to have as much control as they did. Um, I don't know if we're going to see that again. That's my problem. The same problem we have with the Saints, I'm starting to have with the Eagles. I don't know which team is going to show up. So, is it possible they could win against the Bucks? They're home. Sure, it's very possible. This is a winnable game. just like I said for the 49ers, for the Cowboys, for the Chiefs, they were winnable games. What are you gonna do?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think they could win, but they're not gonna win. It's not
So you
happening,
going
man.
with the Bucks? You going
Yeah,
with the Bucks?
I'm going Bucks, bro. And hopefully I can go on this trend where I bet against the Eagles and they actually win.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like it. The old sadness hedge. I love to see it.
Yeah,
I actually
yeah.
quickly want to disagree with you a little bit. I feel like they still haven't shown the full potential of what they could do on that
No,
front. I feel
no,
like
they
they
haven't. That's the problem. That's what I'm saying. They did utilize it a little more though in the second
for
half.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Which is what you love to see.
Yeah.
I think Jalen Hurts is a special talent, man. I think we
Oh
don't
yeah.
talk about that enough here. I
Yeah.
think the things that he's able to do, running and passing, really opens up the offense for this team. There was still Sirianni moments in this
Bro.
game that did not make sense, and I know you look. I love it. I love getting that head shake out of you, bro, because there's so many times where it's so justifiable, and the fact that we're still having these fourth and whatever calls, and the plays are looking the way they look is ridiculous to me. It didn't come to bite you in this one, so that's why I feel like it's probably not going to be talked about as much. But I agree. I do hope they definitely continue to run the ball, and I also agree. I think the Bucks are going to take this one. The fact that Tom Brady had 5 touchdown passes last week and almost 400 yards, and nobody's talking about it, to me really, really speaks to how, even though you're the returning champs, this team is sort of underrated with all the other
Oh
things
yeah.
happening in the
Yeah,
league. There's a
yeah.
lot of fingers to point and say, this is the team, this is the team. They're historically in a good position. And the fact that they're doing well and riding high coming into this game, I think adds to that. I
Mm-hmm.
think this is a shootout, though. I think this is another
Oh yeah.
30-30 kind of game.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to see. I feel like I'm glad that this is early. It sucks because it takes away from the other opportunities. But the fact that we get this game on a Thursday night, we get to sit down and enjoy it, means a lot. So I am going with the Bucks in this one as well. Next up, Dolphins Jags. We don't got to talk about this one much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with the Jaguars in this one, and I know that's going to be a surprise. I don't think either of us have picked the Jaguars all season. I think they have shown tangible improvements, regardless of this Urban Meyer stuff,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
regardless of
Yeah.
all that. I think they have shown in ways how they have improved. I
Mm-hmm.
think that law of averages end up playing, and somehow you end up finding a win. And the fact that they're still having these issues with Jacoby Brissett, and they're not leaning on their strengths as a team, I think
Mm-hmm.
that they might end up in a situation where this is a much dicier game and it ends up running away from them. So I'm
I,
picking the Jags in this one.
I'm actually picking the Jags in this too.
How dare we? How
Yeah.
dare we pick the Jags for the first time at
Bro,
the same
I
time?
don't trust the Dolphins.
Literally.
It, and for some reason I trust them more because they I mean you got Trevor Lawrence, you
Mhm.
got Chark,
All right.
we'll see.
Next up, Vikings Panthers. This one is an interesting one. I think the Vikings have either looked great or awful, even in
Yeah,
games where they won,
yeah.
like the Detroit game. Just want to say quickly, I know we might get to this later, but it was just so sad to see the coach for Detroit. I'm sorry, you may know his name. What was his name?
I don't
Okay, but
I
the
don't
fact
know who
that
he
we
is.
saw him come out after this and literally bawling on camera about
But
how these
he
guys
knew what kind of
deserve
season
this.
they were gonna have. He knew what kind of
I
season they were gonna
agree.
have.
I agree. But the fact that he cares that much, in my opinion, means a lot, because we
Oh
were
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about this
yeah, yeah,
earlier with people
yeah,
like Ben Simmons, they don't care enough. The
yeah.
fact that he's putting himself on the line, literally saying, like, this one hurts because these guys deserve that. And that meant a lot to me to hear somebody say that.
Yeah.
But you're gonna be crying a lot this year
Oh, bro,
if that's how it is, because they're just a horrible team.
I
But
told you before. I don't know if they're gonna even win a game.
for sure,
So
literally for sure. In this one, I'm gonna be real, man. I've been very high on the Panthers, and you hear that in these past weeks. Sam Darnold showed his Sam Darnold
he
last week,
did. He did.
and I
Which
know
is the
we were kind
reason
of
why
waiting.
the Eagles won.
You were waiting for that to pay dirt, and I feel like you were 100% spot on about this. I thought they were doing things and scheming things to make him look better, and the
Mm-hmm.
fact that it showed in this one big
Mm-hmm.
really made me worried again, because
Yeah.
like you said, they were not in a they were, and this is with all due respect to the Eagles, they were
Right.
not out of this game at any point. And he
No.
was the reason why they lost it.
Yeah.
More so than what the Eagles did to win it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like the fact that both of these teams are so versatile makes me wish I could just not pick anybody. But since we have to pick, and that's what we do here,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Vikings because I feel like their potential as far as what they can do, even on both sides of the ball, is
Mhm.
much higher than the Panthers.
Yeah.
I will say this as many times as you will let me. I think Alexander Madison is one of the best backup RBs in this league, and he
Yeah.
has been doing very well since he's got the call.
Yeah.
Um, it's up to Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has to ball out against this team in order to win
Mm.
because their defense is extremely good,
Mhm.
and he needs to not roll out. He needs to make quick decisions with the ball if they have any chance to win this game. But I'm going with the Vikings.
McCaffrey coming back.
Yes.
I think I'm going with Panthers
Okay.
because I think one of the biggest reasons why we're seeing a lot of issues with Darnold is because McCaffrey's not back there.
That makes
Week
sense.
week one, he looked phenomenal.
Especially catching passes out the backfield and giving him that lever for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and the blocking that McCaffrey provides. I'm going with the Panthers on this one because of that. If McCaffrey wasn't playing, yeah, I'm going Minnesota. But yeah, I'll go with Carolina on this one.
I know we were quick on time, but I need to wax poetic right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Chargers, Ravens.
yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a moment, and I've always been high on Lamar. I
Hmm.
don't think I've ever had a moment where I've been more high on Lamar Jackson than
Yeah,
this past week.
yeah.
And
Should be.
you could argue that he shouldn't have looked bad early or that he shouldn't have done. But
Hmm.
all that matters is that at the end of the day is what that stat sheet says at the end of the game. And
Hmm.
the fact that he was able to have the biggest performance of his career in a
Hmm.
game in which the team across from them had their biggest performance of the year and
Yeah,
was
yeah.
doing everything we
They were
came into the
balling.
season expecting them to do.
Yeah,
Literally, we expected them to look like that coming into
yeah,
the season. I was worried, I was afraid, and then the the greatness, like the greatness that I witnessed, it made me feel like the potential that I always wax about for
hmm,
Lamar may even be higher than it is.
hmm,
The fact that he's 24 years old and the fact that yes, there's issues with turning the ball over. Yes, there may be problems with whatever, but the fact that he was getting plays out of the shotgun and standing in a pocket and doing something that I'm loving in his game this year, where it's not a step up in the pocket and run, it's a
hmm.
jump step up in the pocket and
Yeah,
still using his protection in the right spots.
yeah.
I think he really showed improvement as a quarterback in this game. And overall, the fact that Lamar Jackson, can you believe this stat? This is the most insane thing I've heard all week. Lamar Jackson has more total yards than 18 teams in the NFL. That is insane.
I'm pretty
He is
sure
a top
we included in
10,
that.
huh?
I'm pretty,
He said the Eagles are in there.
I'm
Oh,
pretty sure.
man. Oh, man. But the fact that that's true in any
Yeah.
league is insane. And if, in my opinion, if he continues to play at all to the level he was in previous games, not even in this game, I feel like he's an MVP candidate that we weren't talking
I
about
was just about to ask you that.
because in so many ways he's showing improvement while also showing what the great show. And we talked about this so much on this show, but showing the willingness after you make a mistake, after
Hmm.
something bad happens, to show your medal and come back and be historically great compared to the rest of your career
Yeah.
was amazing to see. But I'm sadness hedging in this one. I'm picking the Chargers. I think right now, the fact that we're not healthy is what really hurts us here. I feel like
Yeah.
if we were healthy, we would
Yeah.
have a much better chance in this game, especially running the ball early and coming out and punching them in the mouth. I think going with the Cowboys blueprint in this one may help us, but can we execute it as well with the way Marlon Humphrey was playing last week? I don't think so. I love him though. Don't get me wrong. Shout out to my boy Calais Campbell too, coming up big with a big field goal block in order to put us in position to even try to win that game.
Yeah.
that game was crazy. That was one of the best games, in my opinion, I've seen for a long time, and I'm a fan. So please take into account, if you can look at the highlights for that game. Yeah, we shouldn't have been in that position late against a team that's 1-3, but they didn't play like a 1-3 team that night.
Not all records. And I keep saying that. Not all records are equal.
100%.
So yeah, I agree. I mean, it definitely was a good game. Definitely was a good game. I'm choosing the Chargers as well.
Good call.
It's the health.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And also, it's not that we can't see past the victory, but it's just the safer pick for both of us.
Oh yeah.
Rams, Giants. We don't even got to talk, right?
No, we already know. Pencil in.
Right. Y'all know, right? Y'all know who we're talking about here?
Use a pen, permanent ink.
Yes, sir. We're going with the Rams, both of us in this one. No reason to think otherwise, especially with all the injuries they sustain.
No.
And they're tough ones because we talk a lot about the issues that they have, but Daniel Jones is becoming up big for them, man. And now that Kadarius Toney is gonna not have somebody to throw him the ball to that level,
Barkley's not going to be there.
It literally is a let's hope we can be the worst team in the league season for them at this point.
You have to, at this point, might as well.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
Pick historically bad teams.
Pick up the Rams 100% in fantasy if you can, though.
Great call. I mean, there's no reason that should be free, but I agree.
I mean, if they're available.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Next up, Texans versus Colts. This is a sneaky fun game. I'm going to ask you this. What did you think? I might be putting you on the spot. What did you think of Davis Mills' performance last week? David Mills.
I didn't watch it.
Against the Patriots. It's okay.
I didn't watch it, bro.
I don't think anybody did.
I didn't watch it. And I told you that I had a feeling that they were going to make it close. I had a feeling, but yeah, I didn't watch that game. I wasn't gonna watch that one. I
feel you. I respect you.
No way in hell.
I respect you 100%. I didn't watch the game either, but I watched back the. I love watching back the full game highlights just so that I know what I'm talking about here. Yeah. I feel like a lot of the issues that we had with Mills, he answered in this game, especially against the Patriots defense. He did very well moving the ball down the field, which was a revelation for the way he's looked before these games. Late, they were in a position where, unfortunately, they gave the game away in a lot of ways. And the Patriots did everything they could to come back. Don't get me wrong, but I can't understand a comeback fueled on field goals. Like, that doesn't make sense to me as someone who saw the game with the Ravens coming back in the way they did against the Colts. How do you allow someone to come back with the majority of scores being field goals? Is crazy to me. It speaks to all the other issues, but I may, after what I saw, I may be a little higher on Mills than I have been previously because he answered a lot of questions this week. But with all that being said, I am going to go with the Colts in this one. I think they got their heart broken last week. I think they were playing to a level that is not anywhere near the Texans level, even against the Patriots. So I'm going with the Colts in this one, which is funny because last week we were so bullish on them.
If the Colts don't win this game, man, I'm choosing the Colts, but if they don't win this game, then there's literally something else going on. There's no way they should lose that game. There's no way. I'm taking the Colts.
100%. Next up, Chiefs versus Washington.
Chiefs.
There's some people that could pick Washington here.
I know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
know. But when I'm thinking about the secondary, though, Mahomes against that secondary, I can't see that being an advantage for Washington at all. So
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes. I mean, the Chiefs in general have had a rough season, rougher than they used to. So yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs on this one, but I see why you say Washington possibly. I can see it. I can see it.
And I would say, as we always talk about, not all records are created equal. I think the Chiefs and the Browns, when all said is done at the end of the season, everyone's going to look back and say, how the hell did we think that they were having problems? Because they had some of the most tough seasons on the schedule as anybody else.
Yeah.
I think that 100% Chiefs in this one. Shout out to Chase Young for getting his first takeaway last week, though. Just wanted to mention that before we move on. Packers versus Bears. This, I'm gonna be real. We have to spend time on this now. We have to, because we still haven't talked about the Raiders. But I'm gonna say
be able to get to talk about Jon
okay,
Gruden.
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's too much. There's too much.
Yeah.
We'll get to that when we get to the Raiders. But I'm gonna say that for a team that both of us have talked so much about negatively,
the
fact that they're 3-2, and the fact that they found a scheme for their great young quarterback in Justin Fields to look like someone who we had reason to be high on. He looked really good last week. And yes, there's still interceptions. Yes, there's still bad moments, but putting him in, exactly, he's a rookie, and putting him in a better position to succeed scheme wise is what we've been asking for in the first place.
Yeah.
And their defense is going to be what carries them anyway. So this is not a sneaky, interesting game because the Packers are who the Packers are, but with their troubles that they had and the fact that they almost threw away that game last week too, you could see a situation where this game is pretty competitive, especially a divisional game. I'm going with the Packers in this one, but don't be surprised if going into the fourth quarter, the Bears are up and Aaron Rodgers needs to answer.
I completely agree. I would say the copy and paste. I would say the exact same thing.
You love to hear it.
I think the Packers are definitely going to win this, but if the Bears make some noise, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yep. Next up, Bengals Lions. We're on the same page on this one.
Yeah.
We're still high on the Bengals. Shout out my boy Logic. Hopefully we could get you on next week and get to talk about your team. There's a lot going on with this team. They're injured as well, which is tough to see. But even with those injuries, I don't see a way the Lions take care of it.
No, I think a team full of senior citizens could beat the Lions. So
oh man.
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't see the Bengals losing this one. I mean, they literally have to just like stay in the locker room to lose this game. So
for sure.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one. All right. Next up. This right here. If it's not Chargers Ravens, and mark my words on this one, if it's not Chargers Ravens, it's this game right here. Cardinals versus the Browns. Holy shit. Who the hell has something against the Browns? Can you explain that to me? How the hell has their schedule been this tough?
Bro,
it's insane.
Yeah, and you would think that they were one of the better teams last year with the type of schedule they've had. There's just no way that they can win this game. The Cardinals are on a roll. There's no way the Browns are winning this one. I'm sorry. I couldn't choose Baker Mayfield. I can't choose him over that defense. There's no way.
This is where I disagree with you. I watched the entirety of that Chargers Browns game, and the fact they lost that had nothing to do but the fact that they were facing a generational talent in Justin Herbert. It had nothing to do with that. Yeah. Like, that's the only reason they lost that game, because they did everything they could to put themselves in a position to win. That two-headed monster running back is insane. Baker needs to do what Baker always needs to do, and that's not put them in a position where you're hurting them on that side of the ball. And he hasn't, especially last week. He played, in my opinion, he overplayed any other game he had the rest of the season. Yeah. Even that Chiefs game, he stepped up in that game against the Chargers, and it still wasn't enough, which is crazy. I saw some things in that Arizona 49ers game that made me feel like this is the way to go on this one. I really feel like, yes, they've been good. I mean, they've been great, but there's some issues as far as especially run defense and especially staying the course. I think that you saw that even in the Vikings game. There's a lot of times where they may be up and they may have a lead to a certain extent, and you can see the other team creeping back, even if it's in garbage time or whatever. You could see that team being more competitive. And I think against a team like the Browns, you can't let them get anywhere near out ahead of you, because they're equipped to literally burn an entire quarter. There's not
Right,
there
right, right, right.
there are not teams in this league that are equipped to do that. They are. And
Right.
I think that especially with their defense, this might be the week where people are saying, Kyler Murray didn't do too well in this one. So I'm really excited to see how this one plays out because
It's gonna be a good
the
game.
discussion on this one's gonna be good next week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game.
So let me pencil this in. I got Browns for me, Cardinals for you,
Cardinals for me. Yes, sir.
Cowboys, Patriots. I would love to hear your take first because I love hearing what you got to say about
God,
that game.
I hate giving the Cowboys credit, bro.
Trust me, I know. That's why I make you do this first all the time. I don't know if you noticed.
This feels like torture. This feels like torture. I hate it. I want everyone to know that. I try not to be biased in my picks and stuff like that. And for the most part, I think I do that very well. Jesus, man. I'm going with the Cowboys. I hate that.
I love it.
I absolutely hate that, man. I'm tortured with this. This is a horrible season for me.
And you guys' schedule isn't doing you any favors as well as far as adding to that.
And everyone kept saying we had the easiest schedule this year. I never saw it being the easiest schedule.
Those people are crazy. Yeah, those people are crazy.
Yeah.
I definitely, they say that because you're in the AFC East, let's be real.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, literally. But beyond that, I think that the fact that Trayvon Diggs has 6 picks in 5 games.
Oh, he's gonna have fun against Mac Jones.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I like Mac Jones though, man. I think even in that game, being able to come back and game manage the game, you didn't go out there and light it up the way Herbert or the way Lamar did, but you put your team in a position to win, which is something that not a lot of quarterbacks in this league have shown they can do, even when they're playing well, which is a weird thing. It shows, it's not always, it is never one side of the ball. So imagine trying to say it's one player, like everything relies on one player, because it's always both sides of the ball. So anyway, Cowboys are looking insane, and I don't expect that to stop this week. Next up,
unfortunately.
Oh my God, dude. I just want to say this is crazy. This is crazy. I just want to say this. I hate that the Raiders let this man resign.
Bro.
As an organization, how do you let this man coach on Sunday? And then how do you let him resign? Because you let him have the last word. And I'm going to be real. I'm someone that when this came out, I kind of felt like, and obviously I am not Black. So let me make that clear. I'm not a woman either. So that may make that clear off the top. I felt when this came out, my initial reaction was, how is something that happened when you're not working there leading to this? But then when I read what came out, there's no excuse for this behavior. And the fact that I'm sure, and I hope this continues to come to light, because I'm sure that there's people in other locker rooms right now that are searching through their emails because they know that they've said worse things than Gruden said in those emails.
Oh yeah, he's not the only one.
And that is to say nothing of how deplorable his actions were. However many years ago, it does not matter. That was still inappropriate and nowhere near the conduct somebody in any position should be saying about people, regardless of what time it is. You may say we're living in the woke era. I hate when people say that because let's just be real. We're living in the era where shit is going to be shit regardless of where it is, but everyone knows it now. And that's the difference between today's society and why I love that woke culture. Everyone wants to call it woke culture. Nah, it's just your shit isn't going to stay in the dark anymore. And I love that. And I hope that this continues to come out because this is all bullshit. The fact that you would go, I want to understand too, how come they didn't release the other side of these emails? Because that's who they were looking for. That's who they were looking through these emails because of Washington. Why didn't you release the other side of this conversation? Because I'm sure there had to be something in there to make him feel comfortable to say those things to these people.
For sure.
It's ridiculous. I'm tired of it, frankly, because You would think in today's day and age, this stuff isn't going to keep popping up. And sadly, it does.
Oh no, I expect it. To be completely honest, this is stuff that I expect to see more of as time goes on. Um, my only thing is, and this is why a lot of people, people might disagree, but this is exactly the point that if you actually watch Dave Chappelle's stand-up special, The Closer, this is the point that he's been making. The actions against Gruden did not take place when these racist emails came out. He lost his job when the stuff came out about him being transphobic or homophobic. Like that whole email, whatever that email exchange was, nothing took place. No actions were done until that came out. When it came out that he said what he said about DeMaurice Smith, it was fine. It was just, I don't have a racist bone in my body. So like honestly, this is not new. This is stuff that happens all the time.
And real quick, I'm sorry, I'm going to let you continue on this. As someone with a journalism degree, the fact that those people at that press conference let him say that
yeah
is ridiculous to me.
yeah
Continue.
yeah
I'm sorry about
yeah.
that.
No, it's fine. And like, you know what? Sadly, like this is something that goes on so much. This is something that happens so often that like, hey, that like it's just another day. Like I expect stuff like this to come out, honestly. So when stuff like this comes out about white people in positions of power, let's and like don't get it twisted. Racism has a broad spectrum. Just because you don't call someone a nigger, like, doesn't mean that you're not racist. Like that.
100%.
I just want to make that completely clear. So I don't care about Jon Gruden. I don't care about the way he feels. I don't care about how Derek Carr feels, to be completely honest. He stuck up for his coach during this whole ordeal and said that his coach doesn't have a racist bone in his body, whatever. Said the same thing. Um, so you know what? It is what it is. He's gone. Someone like that doesn't deserve to have a job in a position of power anyway. Um, doesn't deserve that. So I'm glad that this happened to him. I'm glad that everything happened with the Bucks taking him out of the Ring of Honor. But to be completely honest, the only reason why any of this even happened is because it was leaked, not because it happened.
Mm.
So there is another problem. That's another issue that no one really wants to talk about. This only if this never got leaked, we're never having this conversation. Like this is never he still has his job. This is never an issue. So I don't care. I like to be completely honest. I do not care. It is what it is. It happened. He lost his job. Good job. But like if you really want to be progressive and make the right changes that need to happen, you would actually do a deep dive into all these people in positions of power, and you would actually find out. I'm pretty sure you would find out that they have some stuff similar that's taking place. The fact that he was able to feel comfortable to say that the league was forcing Michael Sam onto the Rams is that doesn't even make any sense. Like that's despicable. So I'm not even trying to say that what he said about the LGBTQ community wasn't disgusting. My point is none of this happened until that stuff came out. Not days ago, he still had a job, and that's when the first stuff came out. So I miss me with all that. Miss me with all of that stuff. Like don't even I don't even care.
I agree 1,000%. And like I said, it's such a black smudge on the organization
No pun
that he
intended.
got the chance. Oh yeah, I didn't even realize that. Thank you. I didn't even realize that. That was bad.
You're good, man.
But the fact that you allowed this man to resign is despicable to me. Like exactly like you said. I want to say, and I know this may be controversial. I feel like he should have been fired, like you said, based off of that one comment on what he said to DeMaurice Smith about DeMaurice Smith. But like you said, you can't ever have a track. I mean,
He's an average
People
coach.
say shit exactly.
Like he's it's not even like he's a generational coach. He's an average coach that has not won since Tampa Bay. So let's not act like this is someone that is a generational talent.
Mm-hmm. And I was gonna say, people say shit every day that is borderline. There was nothing borderline about this. Like this is all clear. In every single in his misogynistic stances, in his issues with LGBT with that community, and things he said.
Too many letters for you.
Too many letters. Yeah, I thought we were on the speed run right now, man. I'm trying to keep it going. The LGBTQ community.
I got you.
Sorry
yeah,
about
I got
that,
you.
brothers.
Yeah, bro.
My brothers and sisters, my beautiful brothers and sisters. I honestly feel like all of those things should have been fireable offenses. And the fact that you let this man resign and his son still has a job in the organization, check their emails. I'm sure there's shit between them about people that are still on the team. I'm sure.
So please. Didn't Nassib just come out early this summer saying he's openly gay now? Mm-hmm. So you had a guy that was on the team that's openly gay. Mm-hmm. And you do that, but you have more. And see, I don't want to pit one against the other, but you have more guys on the team that are black.
You have more guys in the league that are black.
Yeah, but I'm saying just specifically that team. Like that team should have taken like the necessary moves at that point, not let the other emails come out to say, "Oh yeah, this is a justifiable reason." Nah.
And the fact that Derek Carr thought he was the one that should have came out and said, "No, my coach doesn't have a racist bone in his body," is insane. This was coming from Darren Waller. I would respect it.
But see, I wouldn't respect it either way. I wouldn't respect it either way because you don't know this person. This is not someone you grew up with. This is not someone that's your family member. I'm not betting on someone like that. In fact, I say like this. With white people, I expect that to happen. I expect for things to happen where they're saying things that they may not realize is racist, or they may not realize is racist. I expect it. So to put it just speaks to the volume of the sorry, I'm blanking on the word, but the advantage that he has as being white. That speaks to that for both Derek Carr and Jon Gruden. Yeah. So I'm good on both of them.
I appreciate you.
I don't care.
I appreciate you. I just want to say, please, if something like this comes out, I can't wait to hear what comes out by Washington, because I hope that anyone
Dan Snyder is
doing and saying things like this, 100%. And I hope it all comes out, because what bothers me about this is, we got this guy, and now you're going to try to act like he's the poster boy in these leagues, but let's not act like the people in this league who are the ones that are getting a check, like Gruden. Let's not act like those that are signing the checks are not privy to this at all, because I feel like that's where this is even more of an issue. And how
many team owners do you know that are more than white?
I couldn't even tell you. Literally, I couldn't even tell
you. That's all you need to know.
100%.
That's all you need to know. 100%. There's only one that comes to mind. That's the Jacksonville Jaguars with Amir Khan. I think it's Amir Khan. I know Khan owns the Jaguars, and I think one of his family members own AEW. I forget which one is over Pakistani. Jaguars, but it is. They're the only ones that he's the only one that is a minority owner in the league that I know.
Panthers had a chance last season.
Oh, of course,
it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, but they didn't care about that.
Now, why would they? And I think the whole league should be doing this, as far as not just the people that are getting checks from these people, but everyone,
whoever's on
accountability. Because let's just be real, call it what it is. Like you said, there's no borderline, there's no tightrope to be walked. This is blatant.
Yeah, no sympathy.
All right. Fuck these guys.
I don't even know who
I'm going with the Broncos. I'm going with the Broncos.
Broncos. Yeah. Broncos. I think this is going to shake them up this week anyway. So yeah. Broncos.
And you know what? I'm going to be real. We saw this coming too. We were talking about this too. There was no way that this was sustainable for the Raiders.
Yeah.
And the fact that you lost to a Bears team shows the level that you're at when you still had this clown coaching you on Sunday. So
yeah. Again,
now
mediocre.
you're going to be even
mediocre to average coach. He's not even like a brilliant mind. So.
And let's talk about the Bucks real quick, because I know this was something that's been circulating this week too. If you're going to do that, there's a lot of other things you got to look at as well.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They're only doing this to save to stay in a positive light,
to save grace,
right? Because there's no way that you're gonna sit here and if you knew, bro, you can't.
I would love to see teams get out ahead of this, because that's the issue. Like you said,
they should. But here's the thing: you have you have to look, and they're not. There's no reason to look. So
what is the league doing in this? Like, shouldn't this be on the league? I don't think
it should be on the league, because honestly, it should be on every team to do a deep dive on whoever they're bringing into their organization, no matter who it is. I don't care if this is a Bill Belichick coming into your team. You do your deep dive and do your due diligence.
100%. And the fact that we need to ask for that is insane.
Yeah. So I miss me with all that. They can miss me with all of it. I don't care if you took him out of the Ring of Honor. That don't mean anything to me.
When you got players on your team that play every week, that we got things to talk about.
You knew this was like, you can't tell me that no one in that organization had no idea that he sent emails like that.
This was something that he historically has had issues with a lot of players about things like this before, and it's never come out fully.
Yeah.
But
so
fuck this. Fuck this conversation.
I hope he never gets another job in the league.
Thank you. And there's no reason why this should be a forgivable
And I'm skeptical of that, because I think he actually will get another job in the league. I think it's going to be one of those PR moves of, like, you know, the going through the therapy or whatever. I think he's going to do something like that, and oh yeah, I'm so much whatever.
And let's be real, that's once again speaks to the privilege of skin color. But next up, I appreciate you, because this is the shit that matters. Let's be real.
Yeah, it does.
Seahawks versus Steelers.
Seahawks.
I agree. Steelers did look better last week, though.
They did look better.
They still look bad in the ways that we say every week they look bad. So
yeah.
Let's just say shout out to Najee Harris for balling last week. They actually figured out how to run protect. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Welcome to the league.
Welcome to the league. Bills Titans. This may be a hot take, because I kind of been high on the Titans. I think this is a blowout. I think the Bills, I gotta eat crow, man. I was talking a lot last week about how I still have issues with Josh Allen, and I think I still do. I don't think that goes away. But the level at which the defense is playing on top of the things they can do on offense is insane. Extremely well-rounded team, and in my opinion, they've also had a little bit of a light schedule, if you ask me. Interested to see how this one goes, but I think the Titans have been shitting the bed big, and the fact that Tannehill hasn't had a Tannehill moment since the season started is a big issue when you came into the season talking about the receivers that you signed.
Yeah. I thought you were going a different way when you started talking. You said blowout after saying Titans. So I thought you were going to go that the Titans were about to blow out the Bills. So
no, you would have had to kick me off the show.
I was say, bro.
I thought we knew. You can't lead the show saying we know what the fuck we're talking about and say something like that. Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah, Bills will win it this way. Yeah, handedly.
100%. I just want to say
Brown,
one more
I need
thing.
you to show up for fantasy, though. Come on now.
Come on now. I mean, didn't he have 2 touchdowns last week? Am I going crazy?
I don't know. I didn't watch.
I don't know, but it wasn't enough. Okay?
It wasn't for me. I'd say that right now. It really wasn't.
Yeah, I've been struggling too, man. I literally am only positive in one league.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that next
another time, because there's no time left. I just want to say quick hit. This is we're on a relevant topic, so I think it's important because we talked about this last week too. The UFC is the hypocrite of all hypocrites. They continue to do the things that we expect of them, but in the most hilarious ways, because they get out in front of things when there's an athlete like the Violent Bob Ross. I
Mhm.
know his lawyer is pissed off that he chose that nickname, but the fact that Luis Pena, who I am sure nobody listening to this knows who he is, the fact that they cut him,
Yeah.
miss me with that bullshit. Shout out to Jackson Wink. They actually suspended him, and they actually suspended John Jones from training at the facility
Mhm.
for 6 months. That doesn't mean shit to me either, because in
Yeah.
6 months from now, you're still going to get the check that you're going to get. And he wasn't training at your gym anyway
Yeah.
for these last 6 months. Well, for the next 6 months, he wouldn't have been training at your gym anyway.
Yeah.
So miss me with the bullshit. Let's just be real. Um, any league, any organization that these things happen where somebody is being, where somebody's arrested for domestic violence issues,
Mhm.
this should be an automatic. This shouldn't be a question of who it is that's getting released or why or whether or not it was a serious enough case. No. Greg Hardy should not have ever had a job. John Jones should have been lost his opportunities. And the fact that you're making an opportunity out of somebody like Luis Pena, who
Yep.
the fuck is Luis Pena? And I'm someone that watches this every week. I actually thought that as a talent, he had some prospects. I
Mhm.
have zero respect for that man because this is the second time in 6 months. This is the exact situations coming out. And you know what they said
Mhm.
the first time? We need to get him the therapy and help that he needs to get over this situation.
Yeah.
So this will only ever happen when you have a B talent. Miss me with the bullshit. Like you said earlier, you should be getting out ahead of this shit.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Well, that's the history of Dana White. So
I mean, Dana White's a fucking racist, and I will
yeah.
say that right now.
Yeah. So you know, we could get on that. It could be a whole other episode on its own.
Yes, sir.
But all right, bro. So let's go ahead and give them your handles real quick.
Yes, sir. You can catch me at Negrong MMA this Friday. Will be the
Yes.
debut of my MMA archive podcast that I'll be going solo on. I can't wait to talk to you guys about UFC 1 and really look back on what I think was one of the most captivating things to watch as someone that didn't watch this live. I
Yeah.
think it was the fact that that happened is crazy to me, and I just can't wait to talk to you guys about it. So check that out. Look forward to that on Friday. MMA Archive is going to be fun, and then finally, you can catch me on Instagram at Chris Negron _ continue to check out the OTS media stuff. It keeps growing, and the fact that you have, I mean, I just want to say this to you because I know there's not many people that are coming on here and saying good things about you, brother. But I just want to say the fact that you guys have so much content coming out on a weekly basis, you cannot say that about some networks that they don't cover as much topics as OTS media is covering right now,
Yeah.
and through so many different lenses. Shout out to the change as well, because I think these last weeks has shown why it's been so important to make these changes and show
Yeah.
that you're giving so many people a platform to come and talk about the things that they love in a way that we're educating people is just a beautiful thing to see. So shout out to you, Derrick, for putting all these talented people together and under one roof, and we're making stuff happen. So please check us out on all OTS media handles.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that, man. It's a grind. It's
That
definitely a
should be the
grind.
promo, bro.
It's
Let's go. That's the fucking promo. It won't be though, because
yeah,
I know
it
the kind
won't
of guy
be.
you are.
Yeah, it won't be. But yeah, I appreciate that for sure, man. It's good to hear stuff like that. We just celebrated 3 years yesterday. So actually it's only been 2.5, I think, of even making content. So, I think we're making some serious strides. So it's I'm happy and proud of what we've been able to do. I'm proud of the people we've been able to bring on part of this team to actually do work. I appreciate it, man, because I can't do it on my own, so I definitely
100%.
appreciate you guys for sure, man. You can follow me, Derrick _OTS. That's DERRICK. But I prefer you to follow the brand, OTS Media Co. All social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, youtube.com/OTS Media Co. Go to otsmediaco.com. You can see all of our articles, the latest episodes for different shows. You can even find our channel, podcast channel, on Apple Podcast now, where you can see every show that's under OTS media, and check it out. Rate, review, let us know what you guys think. Subscribe to us on YouTube, please. We've been getting more. Shout out to Nat. She came on this week, and we started rocketing up a little bit more. So, everybody's been doing a great job. So I definitely want to take this time to thank everyone for putting in the work. And there's only more to come from here. So thank you guys for listening or watching us on YouTube or watching us on Facebook Live. If you even stuck around this long, we really appreciate you, man. So we'll catch y'all next week.